evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've invited first class, now we're inviting executive platinum, platinum, emerald, sapphire.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back Lee Harris, the effervescent Lee Harris from Blue Marine Travel. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I thought you'd forgotten a word then. I thought I'd got away with it, and I didn't have to pretend I knew what it was. But no, you managed to sneak one in. But anyway, in answer to your question, I'm very well. Thank you ever so much.
Well, and you have to know what effervescent means.
I don't know. I know nothing. Other than travel, I know nothing.
Wow. I'm trying to be simple here. Simple is as simple does, but
No, leave that for me. I've got that down pat.
Right. And I have to mention that Crew Travel is brought to you weekly by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. There you have it.
What more can you say?
That's right. Well, I got to say, you know what? We have had some very ups and downs throughout this year. And unfortunately, we are back to the downs. And, I myself have suffered quite major consequences this year. I was supposed to be live streaming from Flibs. I was supposed to be doing a television program out of the US through the Caribbean and the Mediterranean. All of these plans fell apart, all because of the inability to get insurance or the inability to travel. And we thought perhaps things were going to be looking better for 2022, but now it looks like travel has crashed. Now, one of the biggest areas, of course, when we're talking crew, they come, we have a ton of crew that come out of the UK, that come out of the US, and another one is South Africa. And South Africa is just burning up right now. It is, crew are dying to get out of there, and it's just not happening. What's going on? I'm sure you've got a ton of things to say about South Africa.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, like you say, it is the hot topic in travel this week. I mean, it's basically the question we've got asked the most this week, that's for sure. But anyway, I do have an update of to-dos and not to-dos anyway, so we'll go through it anyway. So last week, we announced the restrictions were put in place for South African crew attempting to leave the country to go back to work. This past week has seen more changes, and so I just wanted to clarify a few bits with regards to accessible routes for crew. Firstly, KLM. We announced last week that KLM, in conjunction with the Dutch government, were allowing seafarers departing South Africa to still enter and transit the Netherlands, albeit with stricter requirements. However, this week we've been informed that any crew member turning up who intimates they're working on a yacht or pleasure vessel will not be allowed to board their flight. Unfortunately, the Dutch government have further tightened their restrictions, and crew working on commercial yachts and pleasure vessels are no longer deemed essential workers, hence the reasons for crew being denied boarding. Secondly, next, flights direct to the USA. With regards to the USA, any crew who are flying direct into the USA, whether that be with Delta Airlines or United Airlines, they are safe to do so, provided they have the following. They will need either a B1, B2 or a C1D visa, and they have to be joining a yacht which is working in US waters. That's extremely important. You can only enter if the yacht you're working on is in US waters at that time. Any crew looking to transit through the USA to a third country, again, unfortunately, will likely be denied boarding. The next airline to go to is Lufthansa and German restrictions. Now, Lufthansa have announced this week, in conjunction with the German government, that they are still accepting South African nationals to transit through Germany to a third country. They can't enter, unfortunately, but they can transit through Germany to a third country. This route, obviously, is available to crew looking to fly onward. And in all honesty, is probably going to be the easiest route for a lot of South African crew looking to travel at the moment. Finally, the last one is Swissair and Switzerland. Likewise, with Lufthansa, Swissair have announced also that they will be accepting South African crew to transit through Switzerland. However, there is one major difference between Swissair and Lufthansa. Swiss will only accept crew flying from South Africa whose final destination is within the Schengen area. Anyone whose destination is outside the Schengen area will not be permitted to transit via Switzerland on Swissair.
Let me ask you now, if, for example, I know that there's all sorts of restrictions coming into other areas of the Schengen. If they are transiting through Germany, for example, will they be called up in another country? Do we know that? Or, are they going to be safe? But because they have the ability to say, okay, this passenger came from South Africa and transited through Germany, will they be refused entry?
I mean, that's obviously a very good point. What obviously any crew who are looking to travel and say if they do transit via Germany, they have to make sure that their final point of entry, so wherever their yacht is based, that they are allowed to enter that country. That's vital. Obviously, the best people to speak to would be their port agent in the country that they're traveling to. They'll be able to tell them, because again, it might not be a blanket ban on all South African travelers. Seafarers may well be having some exemptions, especially into the Caribbean at the moment, because a lot of them have tightened their restrictions. I know a lot of crew have been flying into Mexico who are still accepting them, doing 14 days in Mexico and then traveling onwards to St. Bart's or St. Martin or Antigua or Nassau, wherever they're going to. So again, it's a headache, it's a pain. There are ways around it to get to where you need to, but it does take a little bit of lateral thinking to get to where you need to be.
Once again, all the more reason to use a travel agent.
Exactly, that's right. I mean, again, I know we've sort of said it a lot previous in our the podcast that we've done, and it's vital at this moment in time. It's vital to use, people within. I'm not saying necessarily it has to be Blue Marine Travel, although I would recommend us. But you need somebody who knows the rules. They change on the day. As we've seen previously, people turn up to an airport, think they're going to be safe, and for whatever reason they get turned away. At least if you've got that person who knows the background, who knows travel, they know the people to speak to, then they're on hand to help you out as quickly as they possibly can.
Right. Well, sorry about that, South African crew, but let's hope things change quickly. And there's some bad news coming out of the UK again.
There is, unfortunately, yes. So travellers heading to the UK will now need evidence of a negative lateral flow or PCR COVID-19 test result taken up to 48 hours before getting on an aircraft, ferry or the Eurostar. The requirement will come into force from Tuesday, December the 7th, in response to worries about the new Omicron variant of COVID-19. Passengers are advised to take the pre-departure test as close as possible to their scheduled departure to the UK, but no earlier than 48 hours before travelling. The measures will be in place until at least December the 20th.
And more bad news for the US.
The Grim Reaper's back, unfortunately. I do apologize. But yes, the US this week, they've, in response to the Omicron variant of COVID as well, have tightened up their travel rules for entry once again. As from the 6th of December, any person traveling internationally into the US must get a COVID-19 viral test no more than 1 day before you travel by air into the United States. So you only have the 24 hours beforehand. You must show your negative result to the airline before you board your flight. If you recently recovered from COVID-19, you may instead travel with documentation of recovery from COVID-19, i.e. this would be your positive COVID-19 viral test result on a sample taken no more than 90 days before the flight's departure from a foreign country. You will also need a letter from a licensed healthcare provider or a public health official stating that you were cleared to travel.
Wow, as if there wasn't enough paperwork to do already. But we do have some good news coming out of Switzerland. Yay.
We do a tiny little bit, yeah, it's a slight glimmer. Switzerland have dropped the requirement for arrivals from red list countries, including the UK, to quarantine for 10 days on arrival. However, all arrivals will be required to show a negative PCR test prior to entry and either a PCR or antigen test between the 4th and 7th day after arrival. The move is part of a series of measures to attempt to control the spread of COVID, which includes the use of vaccine passports and a wider mask wearing mandate. The testing requirement also applies to those who have been vaccinated or have recovered from the disease.
And to satisfy the geek out there, which is Lee, Singapore Airport has decided to amuse people or passengers, which is probably a good thing considering the amount of people that are going to be stuck in airports the world over. Well, they might as well follow Singapore's lead. What's going on there?
Exactly. I love this, and I really wish I was transiting through Singapore soon. But anyway, Singapore Changi Airport has set up a go-karting track in their Terminal 4. The terminal, which has been closed since 2020, is now the venue for the Changi Festive Village, which attracts visitors both from Singapore and those with some hours to kill at the airport. Many of the activities in the Festive Village are aimed at children, but there is the opportunity to go-karting between check-in counters. There are two options for racing. There is a novice circuit, which costs between 15 and 18 Singapore dollars, and a pro circuit, which costs between 18 and $25. The electric go-karts on the pro circuit have a top speed of 26 kilometers an hour, and you speed through the check-in area across the marble and carpet, and at night you race under neon lights, which just sounds awesome, I've got to say. Also at the Festive Village, are pop-up food carts offering excellent local and international cuisine. And there is also glamping there for people who have an overnight stay, again, which I think is quite cool. For anyone who is passing through Singapore and has a significant transit period, honestly, I would thoroughly recommend go onto YouTube to watch the videos of the Festive Village and the go-karting. It looks amazing. It looks brilliant. If anybody does it, please let me know. I would love to know what it was like.
Was that movie Tom Hanks? Was there a movie that it was Tom Hanks in it?
Terminal.
Yeah.
I think it's called Terminal.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being stuck at an airport if that was what was going on, glamping and go-karting. And I mean, you know, to stick me there forever.
Sounds great, doesn't it? I mean, I really wish I could travel from New Zealand, but I can't at the moment. If not, I'll be there.
I don't know. I think, you know, that'd be a perfect life. You just, you know, hang out at the airport and glamp and do some go-kart racing and eat off food carts and love your uncle.
Yep, great times.
I know. See, we ended on a lovely note. Well, we're not ended yet, but at least, you know, after all the bad news, we are giving you some glimmer of hope. So if you're a crew from anywhere in the world, try to transit through Singapore. So at least if you get stuck, you've got something to do. And of course, we have the photo competition winner. This is the last. No, you've got one more.
We've got what? So the November winner of Blue Marine Travel's photo competition 2021 was announced this past week, and I'm pleased to say November's winner was Samantha Morris. Samantha blessed us with photos from her many years of working in the yachting industry. Now, Samantha is a big spokesperson for mental health, and she also won this year's Yachtcrew Yachting Purser Award, and her chosen charity is the Sailors Society. Now, the Sailors Society aims to transform the lives of seafarers and their families at home, in port and at sea through the delivery of chaplaincy, education and the relief of poverty and distress. Honestly, it's an awesome charity. I hadn't heard of them until this point. I've been on the website. It looks amazing. People should honestly really check it out. Entries are now officially closed for this year's photo competition, and we thank all the yachties that shared their memories and stories with us. Honestly, it was a truly exciting competition. We received over 250 entries, which is absolutely brilliant. So we can't thank people enough. The overall winner will be announced end of December between the winners from January to November, and the winner's charity will receive an amount of £500. Now, for anybody who would like to see all the winners' photos from January through to November, please head to the Blue Marine Travel webpage and click on the photo competition tab.
Nice. Well, of course, we'll provide the link to the website, and all the information required will be on the website, of course, as well as any other information. And I'm guaranteeing you that you're going to be inundated by South African crew, at the very least, looking for more details. So, you know, to all the South African crew out there, if you want any more information, please do head to the Blue Marine website and to Lee's LinkedIn, because, well, I mean, if you're looking to get any work in the Caribbean this year, or who knows, I mean, even on into the beginning of the Med, you know, it's looking like this is ongoing. We just keep coming up with new strain after new strain after new strain. Yeah,
it does. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, we'll get this one under control, or they'll find a shot or something that we can all take that's going to be okay for Omicron. But yeah, guaranteed there's probably going to be another one that pops up again in 6 months' time. So yeah, it's something we're going to have to live with. We're going to have to get on with it. And it just means that you have to spend more Sundays with me as I give out bad news.
You are the Grim Reaper.
I am the Grim Reaper, yes.
Right. Well, and I have to let the world out there know that somebody actually has married Lee Harris for 16 years as of today. So we all wish you a happy anniversary and our condolences to your wife.
Do you know what? I mean, I must admit, it's just, it's strange, because the message we've got keep telling me how well my wife is aged and how well I haven't. So it's just, yeah, happy days.
I have to say as well that Crew Travel is brought to you weekly by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. Thank you once again, Lee. And of course, we look forward to next week.
Let's hope it's going to be better news next week. So yeah, let's look forward, not back.
Well, we are getting close to Christmas, so we're looking forward to, all these kids that have plans to go home to family, and who knows? Let's hope, fingers crossed, that things ease up enough for them to be able to make that trip and then get back to work.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of countries have said they're going to renew their review their restrictions just prior to Christmas. So let's hope, fingers crossed, some good news will come out. This Omicron variant's not as bad as they all tell us it's going to be, and the restrictions will be eased. That's what we can keep our fingers crossed and hope for.
Knocking on wood.
Yes.
Everybody, thank you ever so much for tuning in. We have included the link to Blue Marine Travel as well as Lee's LinkedIn link, because if you want to know what's going on in the world of travel on a second basis, Lee's LinkedIn has every bit of information you may need. You've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Riyadh. I have been your host. We'll see you again next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're boarding passengers seated in zones E and F.